So, most of the times in the society, we end up not paying attention to some things, some basic things, that needs to be critically analyzed. And one of them is the presence of a father, who a father is. Now, a father goes beyond just being there physically, given finances, that I mean, physical, those things, money issues. It goes beyond that. But then what do we see? We find that most fathers mostly check out, either emotionally, mostly emotionally. How many fathers would ask you, "Are you okay? Um, how do you feel? Are you depressed?" In Ghana, I doubt. But then it is important, and that is why we are having this episode to talk about the missing piece. And this missing piece can be a father, a mother, even siblings, because once you don't have the normal family structure, then something is missing in there. But this for this episode, we're going to talk about the missing piece, which is the father figure. What happens if you don't have a father in your life? What happens if you do not have that presence, the presence of a father, that acknowledgement that you need from a father? What will you do? How do you feel about it? What can the society do about all these things? And even as individuals who are even in this situation, who do not have biological fathers in their lives, how are they managing? And this is a sensitive topic that needs more attention. And so we have people who are going to talk about their experiences, share their stories, and then we learn from them and also give our comments on what can be done right. Because we are in here for a positive change, and that is what Voice with Dossi is all about, to create a change in our society.
My name is Jonathan Lucas. I was born in 1998. My mother and my father were together as I was born, but after 2 years, I began having problem in my eye. So I went to the hospital for years, and I don't know what happened. My father, for no reason, decided not to really give me that attention that he gave to the other siblings I had. Then I had only one sibling then. So he left the scene. Well, when he left the scene, frankly, after going to school at 4 years as a boarder, when I used to see my friends come with their fathers, it was quite painful because you see families around their children and you only have your mother. It wasn't so easy, but as I was meeting friends who were in the same situation like mine, I became accustomed to it and decided to live with that.
My growth and development, I've not actually lived with my dad. I've been living with my mom from childhood till now, and I have my grandma. So my home is run by two females, my mom and my grandma. My mom basically gives the rules in the house. Nana, do this, do that, go to school, sleep. Yes, and my grandma is our financial support. Both my mom, myself, and my siblings.
Um, with decisions that I have to take, the fact is that sometimes if we say, you see, if we say that it's not difficult in the life, two heads are better than one. So when you have only your mother beside you, she can do her best, but sometimes you need a father figure. But that time becomes so difficult. But as I was going to school, teachers became my fathers. So I had to navigate the decision. Sometimes I have to become my own father because if examinations are there, if you don't have a biological father who will understand you better, it becomes difficult for somebody to understand and then help you. So I have to take some decisions on my own, such as sometimes I have to take decisions to support myself in the education system because the woman to do it was not there, and the woman cannot cover the hand cannot cover everything.
I would say that from the onset, I was a bit bitter and I easily got angry, especially with people who had dads and were always talking about them in school. I remember in, I think, class 6, I just left my group of friends because everybody was talking about their dad. Daddy did this, daddy did that. I was just angry. I didn't want to hear it, so I left. So I was bitter from primary school to junior high school until I went to the senior high school. A friend of mine actually helped me overcome that. She explained to me that it's normal, it's part of life, so I shouldn't let that take the best part of me. One person who stands out and I would always mention is my junior high school science teacher. He is Mr. Ernest. He has been my father, he has been a teacher and a friend. He made me realize that it's not only your real dad that can be a dad to you. I remember in JHS1 during one Saturday classes, I had an argument with my mom before leaving. So when I went to the class, I was sad, I was crying during break. So he called me, Angie, why, what's wrong? I narrated everything to him and he asked, but where's your dad? I said, no, I don't have a dad. Yes, I have a dad, but practically I don't have a dad. So he advised me, and since that time, he has always directed me. Even my decision to come to University of Cape Coast to choose Bachelor of Arts, English and French was because of him. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer because men had cheated my mom, so I had to do something. But that wasn't me. I love teaching. I'm happy when I'm teaching. So that input from him has actually directed my path in life, and I'm happy doing what I'm doing now.
I will say I had an uncle who was so good. May he so rest in perfect peace, Mr. Peter Kweku. He was very good to me. He took me as a son, and he gave me certain things that I never expected to get from my father. The first time I took milk to school, it was that woman who bought it for me. So I will never forget of that man. And I also had foreigners, whites who came into my life, Europeans, let me say. And this Reverend Mosley was so, in fact, so fantastic. He gave me many, many things that he gave me the hope of going to school, the belief that I can do it. And it is for by God's grace and his commitment that and the commitment of others that I'm here. So I will also mention such a person's name.
Since I've not actually stayed with him from childhood, that hasn't really impacted my life so much, as in not having him contributing to the decisions I make. I don't see that it has really impacted my life. I don't yearn for his approval like I would yearn for my mom's or my grandma's or say my teacher, Miss Ernest. So I think I've grown to understand that I don't have a dad who is present, and this is how I turned out.
Unfortunately for other people, they have their fathers around right from childhood, and that's good. But the question is, what happens if the father is normal, especially if it's as a result of death? How do they cope? How are they going to manage themselves? Because I believe that when your father is around, especially if you're a lady, everything, my daddy, everything you're going to ask your dad. But once they are normal in the picture, how do you manage as a child, as a young adult? How do you go about your daily activities without them in the picture anymore? Even to ask someone for an advice, nobody can actually play the role of a biological father because it's deeper than you think.
My parents separated when I was very young. Yes, and I lived with my dad. Yes, and living with him was very fun. I was very happy, to be honest. I didn't even feel like my mom wasn't there. Yeah, so that was everything to me. It gave me everything I wanted. My dad passed on last year, 2022.
When you started your life,
It has it's been very difficult, honestly, because since my mom wasn't there, he was everything to me, and ever since he left, things haven't been the same. But then I'm coping. I've had a few male models in my life, and they help me out in several ways. Yes. Um, I remember one of them had to pay for my hostel fees just last year. Yes, so yes, I've had a few of them. Knowing that that is no more, in a way, it has made me tough. Yes, because I know that he is no more. So if I don't do it, who else will do it for me? So in a way, it has made me become very strong and independent. Yes, so that's how I'm doing it now. A few challenges, but um, I cannot. I wouldn't say it has been very difficult because I I know that this is part of life. Yes, people come and leave. So I adjusted within a few months after he left. Yes, so the challenges they come, but then I'm okay now. Yes. What I would like to say is that um, in order for you to get through this, you have to accept that it's life. Yes, you can grieve for the whole of your life, but then it doesn't make sense. So you have to at least try to move on and know that there are other people around who are going to support you only if you ask. Yes, so you should be strong and be vocal about whatever they want, and there is God too, so you do those things for you. What I'd like to say to first of all those fathers who neglect their children is that um, it's it's very painful knowing that your dad is alive and he doesn't want to take care of you. Yes. I don't know the reason why a father would decide not to take care of their kids. But then what I would say is that they should make an effort. I don't know. That's why I said I don't know why they neglect their kids. But then they should at least try for we their children because we go through a lot with our fathers.
Well, it is hard for the society. I think the society can do better about it because if society does not educate the men about their roles and does not let men know that if you produce something you have to take own it, because if it is good you take it. If you think it is bad, why do you leave it? Since it's your thinking, why don't you give it more time to see whether it will be bad or it will not be bad? Because you might not be right. That the fact that the person doesn't, in my case, the fact that the person cannot see, he can't do what you think he is supposed to do as a normal human being. So the time you give to the person too matters, and that all boils down to society educating the men to take their roles, to own up to their responsibility. They shouldn't be so faceless as they have been. Some of them have been in the society, and to people who don't have fathers, I will tell them that look, it's difficult, but if you decide that you want to do it, somebody else will own up and help you. So don't consider yourself that because you don't have a father, you can't do anything, and that is all. If you get up and you stand to your feet and begin to do something, somebody else will step in and give you a helping hand.
When we talk of the traditional family structure, I suppose we mean the mom, the dad, and the kids in the home. I believe that the society starts from the home, the family, the extended family inclusive. So let me use myself as an example. Yes, I didn't have the traditional family structure where I had my mom, my dad, or my siblings. I just had my mom, myself, and my grandma. So my grandma from the extended side was the support that pushed me to this time. It means that the society, outsiders have a role to play, but the family, the extended family too, can support children who don't have either both mom and dad or just a dad or a mom. Aside that too, as an individual, I believe that you you need to contribute to your own self. You need to develop your own self. Why am I saying this? No matter the support you get from people, if as an individual you have not decided that you want to be better, you can never be better. So
So
I think it's not all about the society. The individual too has a role to play. If I had not had a change of mindset in junior high school, I would have still been better and I wouldn't have seen clearly to make the right decisions. So society has a role to play, but the individual herself or himself has a bigger role to play. Change your thinking. Don't think that your dad is not here, so you can't do that. It's not true. My dad is not here, I'm here. I think I turned out okay. I'm moving.
And the society can do a lot. Society can, because I remember that when my daddy passed on, my church, the church is part of the society. I know, yes. The church, the church has been very supportive to me. I remember the pastor, every time I'm coming to school, he calls me that, oh, come for this, come around, I'll go, and indeed he helped me out. So that's the little way that a society can help us. If it doesn't have to be monetary. Anything, even advice, guidance, counseling, it can help. Yes, that's what I would say.
So it's best to say the fact that sometimes people, because of you don't have fathers. I mean, it becomes difficult when you meet people who are talking about their parents and so they get to know you and you don't have a father. Sometimes the way people begin to, if you make some decisions or you say certain things, they begin to tell you, refer to it that, oh, it's because he doesn't have a father. That's why he thinks that way. And I think society has to look at that because the fact that I don't have a father doesn't mean that my brain doesn't work. So if somebody doesn't have the father, you have the father figure, doesn't mean that you have everything correctly than mine. I mean, human beings, wherever there's no hope, and wherever you lose something else comes to replace it. So if there's nobody to function as a father for me, at least God might give me that kind of spirit in my own self to do that fatherly duties.
Wow. So indirectly, what do I say to my dad and all who are like my dad? Okay. I think that one thing that gives joy is to have a child, take care of that child, see that child accomplish his or her dreams, and you stand back and you say, wow, that's my child. So if you are not able to contribute anything to that and you can sleep, you are fine and you are walking around, I think this I leave to their conscience.
with all being said about this whole fatherhood wahala, it is very important, it's very necessary that we have the view of an expert. We have someone from Segrad who would also tell us what we can do, what we can do better. Because trust me, it looks like it's nothing, but it's something. We shouldn't overlook these things because if we are looking forward to solving poverty and these minor issues that we see around, these children walking around with who looks as if they don't have parents. I'm sure I believe they have, but it starts from somewhere. And so we will take the view of Doc on what she thinks can be done right, on what as individuals, what can we do? And as fathers, what can we do to improve upon it? Because I think we are all fed up of this thing. Father's Day comes and nobody wishes you as a father. And maybe they enjoy this whole thing where nobody wishes them. Mothers will keep taking the fans and the cars and the fathers will start getting the clothes and then the small things.
When we talk about fatherhood, fatherhood is more than just being the person who impregnates a woman. Fatherhood goes beyond biological function. It's about being there for the child, taking care of the child, being involved with the life of your child, both physically, emotionally. I want to talk about emotionally, being present when your child has an issue, your child can come to you, talk to you, that kind of bonding, that kind of relationship where the child has somebody they look up to. Especially if it's a boy, then this is like a role model for me. So fatherhood goes beyond, as I said, and most people think that fatherhood is simply about providing the basic needs of the child. But there's more to fatherhood than that. Anybody at all can give your child food, can give your child water, but nobody can take the place of a father in a child's life. More often than not, we have fathers who are absent physically and absent emotionally. There's an expression we use which says he's checked out, right? A father who is absent physically could be because of death, could be because of job challenges. The person has to work outside the home, far away from home. It could be that the person has to maybe for whatever reason, maybe the person is even ill and has to go seek medical treatment somewhere. When we talk about fathers who are absent emotionally, then we are talking about those who are present physically, but emotionally there's no connection between them and their children. And one might ask, what are some of the challenges, or why does this happen? Sometimes people are absent, or fathers are absent emotionally because they just don't know how to father. Their experience of fatherhood is simply, I've paid your fees, I've given you food, you have water, you have shelter, what more do you need? You understand? So they feel like when they come, it's more a matter of there is food to eat, there is water to drink. Yeah, I paid your fees, good. Have you done your homework? Okay, go and sleep. But fatherhood is being present emotionally, is being there for the child. You are not just a paycheck. You are not just a checkbook that daddy, I need this, then you give the person money. You are somebody this child can talk to, this child can connect with, this child can, depend on, and take walks with you, talk to you, engage in an activity with you. You have a car, you and your child washing the car together, you and your child cooking together, you and your child bonding, going on walks, etc. And more often than not, we feel that, oh, that's so Western, it's not African, it's not Ghanaian. And so it's like a father shouldn't do that. But we've forgotten that more and more often the world is becoming globalized. This is what our children see. This is what their image of fatherhood. In the movies they watch, in the songs they listen to, even the cartoons that they watch, this is how they see fathers engaging with their children. So once you are not checking in emotionally, you are depriving your child of that essential connection. And you are your child's first role model. So you definitely need to be present, right? Another reason why some fathers are physically absent, not because of ill health or job challenges, is because of family conflicts. So for one reason or the other, mom and dad are not really together, they are not gelling. So there could be conflict, there could be divorce. And then the fathers feel, well, the children are with mommy. So yeah, I'll send their money and that is it. Sometimes some people will feel that I have an issue with mommy, and you transfer that angst onto the children. You are not helping them. In their minds, daddy is not there. Daddy is absent. So you're absent physically, you're absent emotionally. And the children grew up without that connection with you. And then suddenly it's like, oh, Mother's Day is here. They're all flocking to mommy. And Father's Day, the children don't care about me. They don't really, think that I'm their father. The mothers have brainwash the children, that expression. They haven't brainwashed the children. For most mothers, we have no option than to be there for the children because you are their first point of contact, everything they come to you. So as a father, you need to intentionally try and be there for the children. It is something you have to work towards. I mean, mommy gives food, so everyone will run to mommy, and mommy sometimes tend to be more comforted than daddy, right? Daddy tends to be a little strict. So you would have to make that conscious effort to go down and reach out to the child. And in this way, you'll be present physically and emotionally. So I think that fathers should try to make a conscious effort at being fathers, to father. We are not saying mothers are perfect, but we are saying that more often than not, fatherhood is not really critically examined. It is not a given. It is something we must work at it.
So, with all being said about fatherhood and what needs to be done, my question here is, or what I leave you with, is that as individuals, regardless what we see around, there can be a change. And this change will not happen by magic. We have to do something as individuals. We have to, even in our own little way, there are some things we can do in our society to create this comfortability that we are all looking for. And I just hope that you've learned something, you've been able to pick up some pieces and it makes sense of what you are trying to say, because all these things are important, and whether you like it or not, it's really affecting people, the children, the society, as even a single mother or siblings. It goes a long way than we think. So, guys, kindly subscribe to our channel, like, and then comment and share as well. Because if you are in for positive change and anything about social change, then you are on the right path. So stay glued to us because we just got started. See you some other time.